Let's start with a bit of reflection. What 5 things have you already accomplished that you're proud of? Take a moment and jot those down. Now let's shift our focus to the future. What do you want to achieve in the next 10 years? I want you to make a list of at least 50 items. This isn't about what you think you can get or what you think is possible. This is about what you truly want. If everything fell into place and you could have anything you wanted in the next 10 years, what would that list include? This exercise is not about what you think you can earn or buy or about finally being successful. It's about what would really fulfill you. For the next 10 years, let's create this list. Here's the deal. I want you to put each item one under the other, not side by side. Make the list as long as possible in the time I give you. Write one item under the other because we're going to do some things with this list when you finish, okay? Just start writing as fast as you can. Abbreviate where you can to make a longer list. If something's private, put it in code so nobody could figure it out if they got a hold of this list. Write one item under the other as fast as you can. Let your dreams run free. This isn't about what you think you can get, but what you truly desire. If everything fell into place, what would you want in the next 10 years? Include little things, major things, insignificant things. It doesn't matter. Just make the list. Think about places you want to visit. I've been to a lot of countries, but I have a long list of countries I haven't been to yet. Last year I checked Cyprus off my list. What countries haven't you visited that you'd like to see in the next 10 years? What cities would you like to visit? I've never been to Venice. I've been around the world and all over Italy, but I've never been to Venice, so it's on my list. I haven't been to Egypt or Saudi Arabia. You'd think I've been everywhere, 39 years, but not yet. So get started. Write down everything you want in the next 10 years. Let your imagination run wild. What do you truly desire? What would fulfill you? Write it all down, one item under the other. Ready? Go. What experiences would you like to have in the next 10 years? Parachute out of an airplane, star in a movie, play in a rock and roll band, win a gold medal in the Olympics, start a new family, try a new sport? What do you want for your children? That's a whole list in itself. Think about their education and places you want to take them. What new skills would you like to learn over the next 10 years? When I started learning new skills at age 25, it changed my life. I learned sales and multiplied my income by 5. In the first year, I learned how to find good people. Recruiting multiplied my income even more. I learned how to organize and promote, rewarding people for small steps of progress. I became so good at that, my income skyrocketed. Maybe you'd like to give seminars or write some books in the next 10 years. Some goals might be immediate within the next year, while others are further out. Think about benevolence goals. Maybe you have a long list of projects you'd like to support. This is not about what you think you can do, but what you'd really like to do. Mark Hughes had a passion for helping kids with drug problems. One year, he donated $8 million. When I first met him, he couldn't donate $800. Eventually, he could donate $8 million. Andrew Carnegie said he would spend the first half of his life accumulating money and the last half giving it all away. In the first half of his life, he accumulated $400 million, which was a substantial amount back then. Guess what he did in the last half of his life? He gave it all away. So keep your list going. What excites you? Maybe you've been uninspired until now. I want you to start working on turning your lights on for accomplishments. You can't believe what you can achieve if you work hard on this list. It's amazing how adults struggle with this exercise, while kids would be asking for extra sheets of paper by now. Kids say, "You mean anything I want in the next 10 years?" Yes, write it all down. They would go crazy, a cabin in the mountains, an upstairs maid, a cook, a chauffeur. How about your investments and properties? One of my goals was to become financially independent. We'll talk more about that later. My father convinced me years ago that I should be debt-free someday, owing nothing to anyone. My mother and father practiced that, and when I inherited the estate, all the lands, the house, the buildings, the cars, guess how much was owed? 0. Not 1 penny. Everything was free. It is a glorious feeling to have no one claim anything you own. Maybe you want to be in the top 10 in wealth. Get some illnesses and weaknesses. Get strong for competition in the 21st century. One of my goals was to have a residence for each season. Finally, I checked that off my list. It's been winter here, summer there, autumn here, and spring there. A residence for each season. An apartment in Manhattan, a ranch in Brazil. What would really fulfill you in the next 10 years? Think about your career and business goals. I put a little revenge on my first list. Some people said I couldn't succeed. They were on that list. I couldn't wait to get my new car, drive it up on their lawn, and say, "Oh, pardon me. Here's the money to have it fixed." I had some stuff on my list that would give me incredible satisfaction. In the Old Testament, God says, "Vengeance is mine, all mine." No wonder he wants it all. It feels so good. If I were God, I'd want it all. What would really do it for you? Some scores to settle, gently but deliberately. My Japanese friend Toru Ikeda from San Jose, California, put a Caucasian gardener on his first list. I thought, hey, that's good, Toru. What would do it for you? A hobby you'd like to start, collecting new cars, becoming a race driver? I got this neat little motorhome. I put a dirt bike on the back and away I go. I'm now putting a fax machine in my motorhome so I can stay in touch even when I'm gone. Here's my new mode for the future. In touch and out of reach. Yes, you can contact me, but you can't find me for a while. I'm gone. What is your goal for the future? To get away. Something that would serve you well in terms of refreshing and changing pace. Skills you want to teach your children. I taught my girls how to swim and dive. There's great satisfaction when they say, "Watch me, Daddy. Watch me. Look how good I am. You taught me." Here's a good phrase for you. All life seems to wish to reward its benefactor. If you take especially good care of the flowers, they will bloom especially bright for you. If you teach your children, they will want to show off for you. Daddy, look how good I am. All life takes delight in rewarding its benefactors. What classes would you like to teach? My friend Lydia Colon, who invested $1 20 years ago and is now a millionaire, specializes in helping young parents with marriage counseling. The early years of marriage, years 2, 3, 4, 5, are tough to get through. What specialty would you like to learn? How would you like to contribute to society or your community? Does everyone have a list of 50 items now? Almost everybody? Great. Okay, now put a little star next to your list. This star indicates that you can continue to add to this list. This is just the beginning. I promise you that when you get back home, you'll think of 50 more items, then another 50, and so on. Your list can grow and grow. If you have more time than we do today, you can take as long as you need to create the longest list possible. Next, we're going to do something with this list. Here's the next exercise. I want you to look at each item on the list and give each one a number. The number should be either 1, 3, 5, or 10. Look at an item and estimate how long it will take to achieve that goal. 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, or 10 years. Give each item a number based on what you think it might take to achieve that goal. If it's less than 1 year, round it up to a year. If it's more than 10 years, round it up to 10 plus years. Once you've assigned numbers, count them. How many 1s, 3s, 5s, and 10s do you have? Make a little list of those numbers. How many of you have no 10-year goals? Quite a few, right? This means you're not thinking far ahead and are focusing more on the short term than the long term. Some people may have 0 10-year goals, while others may have 14. This shows the difference in thinking long term. This exercise is to help you think more long term. When you accomplish some goals, you need more to work towards. It's very important to celebrate when you reach a significant goal. Write this down. Celebrate a significant accomplishment. It doesn't have to be world-changing. If it's important to you, celebrate it. Hopefully, you have some family goals on your list. If your family achieves a goal together, celebrate with them. Let each family member put their check mark on the goal because the whole family worked on it. This will inspire each member to make a longer list of goals. When you accomplish something, check it off and celebrate. It will encourage you to create a longer list. Celebration creates excitement. To develop a longer list, you need ongoing goals. When the early astronauts went to the moon, some of them had psychological problems when they came back. They had achieved their biggest goal and they didn't know what to do next. Later, NASA ensured astronauts had plenty of projects to keep them busy after their moon missions. The same is true for you and me. Keep setting new goals after achieving your current ones. My father lived to be 93 and had many goals. At 92, one of his goals was to renew his driver's license, which he did for 4 years. Although he didn't live long enough to use it, the goal kept him motivated. Goals to replace goals you've achieved should continue for the rest of your life. How far should you go? As far as you can. How many books should you read? As many as you can. How many friends should you make? As many as you can. How much should you earn? As much as you can. The purpose of this exercise is to stretch your thinking. Wonder what might be possible. If you could get everything you wanted, what would that be? Now here's the next exercise. On your list of 1-year goals, which are the 4 most important? Go back over your 1-year goals and pick out the 4 most important ones. If you've only got 4, this is an easy exercise. You might add more to your one-year list if you don't have enough. Pick out the 4 most important goals. This exercise turned me on at age 25. Goals for accomplishment and personal progress lit a fire in me that has never gone out since. Here are 2 excellent questions for mature people to ask themselves. First question, what's got you turned on? Make a list of what excites you, what gets you up early, keeps you up late, and maximizes your abilities all day long. Next question, what's got you turned off? How come you don't have the zest and vitality for daily accomplishment? Make a list of things that have you turned off. Once you settle that, make a list of what turns you on and what would turn you on in the future. This will create a personal revolution for you, just like it did for me. It's easy to get lazy about designing your day, year, and future. Don't just cross your fingers and hope it will all work out. It won't happen without effort. This exercise is about buckling down and making this list. Keep this up long after we've turned out the lights and gone home. One of the best ways to keep it up is to teach it. Teach what you've learned to others. You don't need recognition. Self-satisfaction is enough. Have you identified your 4 most important one-year goals? Now here's the next exercise. Write down why those 4 goals are important to you. This is crucial because the why is very important. Start a paragraph explaining why these 4 goals matter to you. Make these notes now. When the why gets stronger, the how gets easier. When the why is big, powerful, and strong, the how becomes much easier. Without a strong why, the how seems too difficult to accomplish. For example, if your goals were strong and powerful enough, you'd figure out how to manage your time. You'd get a book on time management and make the necessary changes if it really mattered to you. You can do anything when the why is strong enough. You can get up at any hour, read any book, take any class, make any change, develop any skill, and adopt any discipline. An excellent question to ask children is why. Ask them why they want something and have them describe it. Put a little star next to your paragraph about why your 4 goals are important. This indicates you can add to it later. For instance, one of your goals might be to have $1 million home overlooking Snake River Valley. That's a great goal. $1 million home is achievable with a strong enough why. Here's the next question. What for? What for? I mean, a house is a house with bricks and wood and walls and a roof. Key. Yes, $1 million home. That'd be wonderful. But what for? So now jot this down. Purpose is stronger than object. The object would be the house, and that'll pull. That's a worthy goal to go for the object of the house. But here's a stronger goal. The purpose for the $1 million home. You say, well, it'll be the centerpiece of all the family's activity with all kinds of unique people coming and going and the influence and things will be happening in this place. See, now we're getting somewhere. So if you got that line, it's one of my best for the whole day. Purpose is stronger than objects. It's okay to have plenty of objects to go for on your goal list, but always keep asking yourself the question. And sometimes it's good to just write it out. Here's why I want this money. Here's why I want this place. Here's why. And you start developing those reasons, and I'm telling you now, this starts to become incredible. Now here's some more notes. Some of your goals should be personal development. The person you wish to become. Develop skills that make you attractive to the marketplace. Develop the temperament and the attitude that make you attractive to the business world. The attitude and the temperament that make you a splendid father. Study the art. Because here's what's important. It's not what you get that makes you valuable. It's what you become that makes you valid. I keep saying this year after year for the last 39 years, public. It's the person you become. The idea of becoming an attractive person, a skillful person, a good friend, a good colleague, a good partner, a good member of the round table, a contributor. See, that's the key, the person you become. Okay, now here's the next exercise. Isn't this good stuff? I mean, I'm telling you, this stuff changed my life, altered the course of my life, from milking cows to sitting on this stool. Incredible. What a journey. And part of the explosive stimulation started when I met Earl Schoaf, and he asked me, have you got a list of goals? And I said, no. And he said, then I can guess your bank balance. I thought, whoa. I immediately started studying the art and the accomplishments of it helped to change my life. Now here's the next exercise. I want you to look now at the whole list that you've written and the exercises we've done. Now I want you to answer this question. What kind of person must I become to achieve all I want? And I'll give you time to write that down. Now what kind of person must I become to achieve all I want? Now we've got two things working. What you become helps you to achieve, and what you achieve helps you to become. And the more you become, the more you can achieve. And the more you achieve, the more you can become. Who knows which affects the other the most? So now just write this exercise. Start with a few sentences. We won't have time for you to, take a lot of time, but just start with a few sentences. Your concept of the person you think you must become to achieve what you want. This is time for a little truth here. Maybe you need to become much wiser than you are at the moment. You need to become stronger. You need to have better health. Maybe you need a little coaching to really become the person I want to become. I'm going to have some coaching, physical coaching, spiritual coaching, developing skills coaching. To be the influence you want to be, you've got to build an incredible reputation. What kind of person must I be to attract all that I want in my life and the people that I want and the opportunities that I want? When you knock on the door and opportunity opens, you must stand there as a very attractive person, or you may not be invited. One of the most mysterious and unique phrases that Jesus ever used, here's what he said. I stand at the door and knock. And if you opened the door, would you probably invite him in, this extraordinary person? You say, wow. Yeah. And he said, if you invite me, I'll come in, we'll sit down, talk things over. For you to be that kind of attractive person that if you knocked on the door of opportunity and it opened and you stood there, would you be the kind of person that opportunity would say, come right in and sit down and let's talk about the future? What kind of person? Okay, now put a little star there. And what the star means, right, is to finish this exercise later. Now, if you're working right in a workshop where you've got plenty of time, you just, take a little more time for some of these exercises, make these notes. The key is to put everything on your list now. The key is to take it out of your head and put it on paper. You can dream about what you want, but when you start committing it to paper, now it more formalizes information, now starts to make a composite of an idea. And ideas can turn into hotels, ideas can turn into enterprises, ideas can turn into a fabulous career. We need the information, we need the stimulation. But then you'll learn now later to start putting everything on your list. Now jot this down, it's very important. If something's not that important to you, take it off your list. You don't have to accomplish this whole list. But if you had 100 items on your list and you accomplished 80, who cares about the other 20? If you got the biggest share of what you went for, wouldn't that be enough? And the answer is probably yes. It'd be overwhelming, so you can rearrange this list, you can change it, you can tear it up and start over. You can say, last year I thought this was so important. That's not important to me anymore. The things I've learned in the last 12 months, I've changed my whole goal list. I thought this was so it. Okay, now here's the next note, and we're wrapping it up now. Here it is. There are two great words of antiquity everybody should learn. Here they are. One's positive and one's negative. And we studied a bit about that yesterday. Positive, negative. Here's the positive word from antiquity. Behold. That's the positive word. Behold the possibilities. Behold the opportunity. Behold the future and give it design. Behold and look at the chances you've got. Behold, spring has come. Behold, the day has arrived and the sun is shining and the shadows are fleeing away. Behold, the next person you meet might be your friend for life. Behold, the next person might be a colleague forever. Behold, that's the positive word. Now here's the negative word. Beware. Now I want to give you a sentence to jot down that's very valuable for this weekend session. Here's what it is. Beware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Beware. All of our lives we have to deal with behold and beware. When a kid goes to school, it's behold the opportunity and beware the dangers. Behold and beware. So beware of what you become pursuing what you want. Some things I went for in the very beginning cost me too much. I got so obsessed with some things that I found out later the price was too big. If I had known better, I never would have paid. But sometimes we learn when. So don't become so obsessed with something that you lose your sense of reason or it costs you your friends. Don't be so obsessed with something that you compromise your virtues and your values. The story says Judas got the money. You say, well, that's a success story. No, it's true. 30 pieces of silver was a sizable sum of money, but it was not a success story. His name was Judas. Doesn't that ring a bell? It makes all the difference in the world. Judas got the money. Here's something interesting about the story of Judas. After he got the money, he was unhappy. Someone says, well, if you had a fortune in your hand, why would you be unhappy? And here's the key. He was not unhappy with the money. He was unhappy with himself. Here's a key phrase. The greatest source of unhappiness is self-unhappiness. It's not outside things that make us unhappy. The greatest, most devastating unhappiness is to be unhappy with yourself. Now, a mild form of unhappiness is constructive. The desperate form of unhappiness is destructive. It's like worry. We should all worry a little, but not let it destroy our lives. If you're in New York, about to step off the curb in downtown Manhattan, and a yellow taxi's coming, best you worry enough to get your feet back up on the curb, lest you get yourself wiped out. So it's called caution, but not undue caution. It's called fear and worry. But not the worry that kills you, not the worry that destroys you. It's like hate. You don't need to hate your job. Save your hate for the important things, like evil, like the weeds that attack your garden, like the diabolical ideas that try to entice your children. You don't need to hate everything. I hate this. I hate that. That's the misuse of your hate. Save it for the things we really must hate. But this is so important now. Beware. Judas was so unhappy he tried to take the money back. They said, heck with you. We got what we wanted. You got what you wanted. Out. They threw him out with his money. Now he becomes so desperate he goes out and hangs himself for what he did. He became a traitor. So that's the caution. Now, if Judas could speak back to us in any kind of clear language, here's what he might say. Beware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Don't sell out. It's not worth it. And now, here's the last note. If you'll start this glorious journey of being meticulous, deliberate, and hardworking about setting your goals for the day, setting your goals for the month and the year, setting your goals for your family and yourself and your business and your colleagues, start thinking forward. Here's what you will become. A major contributor, not only to yourself, but a major contributor to others. And that's exactly what you want. Here's another little subject before we quit this. Now, I just mentioned it a little earlier before we started this class. Jot this down on personal development. This is especially for married people who have children. If you're married and you have children, I have some great advice for you. Here's the best I can give you. I'm not a counselor, but this is great stuff. Here's number one. If the parents are okay, the kids are okay. Chances are high, odds are high. If the parents are okay, the kids are okay. Your own self-development is the best contribution you can give first. Isn't this good information? The best contribution to your company is your self-development. The best contribution to your husband or your wife is your personal development. To become all you can become, as wise as you can, as kind as you can, as unique as you can. That's the best contribution. Not self-sacrificing, self-development, and self-investment. Maybe that little talk might be worth the price of the weekend. For the time and the money, it was helpful for me. Here's one more on that. With your family or whatever decisions you have to make. If you've made the decision, the best decision you can, but it's going to cause some pain, here's what you must learn to do. Accept the pain, but not the guilt. There's part of our head sometimes that tries to make us feel guilty if we've made a decision that's been painful, not just for us, but maybe even for other people. But it had to be made. So here's the key. Accept the pain, but not the guilt, because it's not pain that destroys you. Isn't that goal-setting session fantastic? I mean, this is life-changing stuff. Now, one of the reasons why I came to Dallas now to do this goals workshop is because I had the vision of all of you out teaching this goals workshop. I said, wow, if I can affect 1,000 people in Dallas, think of what might happen in the future if I can get everybody teaching things like this. Setting goals that change your life, change your family, change your future.